it's Mike with UGtastic. I'm here at RailsConf 2014, and I'm standing here with Carlos Antonio Da Silva, who's a software developer with Platformatech, and you might also know some of his projects, Devise, Simpleform. He's also a Rails core contributor. He gave a talk today about some of the tricks that Rails didn't teach you. Did I say that correctly?
Yeah, tricks that Rails didn't tell you about.
Tricks that Rails didn't tell you about.
Right.
So thank you very much for taking the time to speak with me. I appreciate it. So can you tell me a little bit more about tricks that Rails didn't tell me about?
Right, yeah. So the idea behind this talk is that I've been working with Rails for around 6 years, and I've been in a lot of different projects and seen a lot of different code from different people around the world, right? And people get used to writing their own code without actually looking at what Rails can give them. So there are times where we see code that could be replaced by Rails existing features that were released in newer versions, or even features that were since the beginning in Rails, right? And the idea was just to show some nice tricks that Rails has, some small features that people don't use that much, and that can help them on a daily basis while working with Rails, and that can make their code better, simpler, and easier to understand. So that's the whole idea behind the talk.
What was an example of one that was a real common kind of thing that you maybe, when you're seeing contributions back to Rails, is that a place where you often see those where people are contributing back redundant code, or is this, you're talking about applications that people are writing with Rails and they just keep reinventing the wheel?
Yeah, it's usually applications that people are writing that try to reinvent the wheel because they write features that Rails already gives them, right? They try to do things that are over complex and that Rails can simplify by using some of the Rails features. So that was the idea of showing some of these tricks, and maybe I will post more on a blog post or something, but the idea behind that was that people should first, before actually writing down the code, go search, ask around, and see if Rails can help them in some way to make their code simpler.
Okay. And we were talking a little bit before the interview about your contributions to open source, and I asked about Platformatech, and you said that it was kind of a funny story that you had come to Platformatech through open source.
Yeah. So it's been almost 5 years that I'm working there. I was actually the first external guy to start working at Platformatech, besides the 4 founders. And I started because of open source, because I was working as a freelancer back 5 years ago, and I was using one of José Valim's project, which is called Inherited Resources. And I was talking to him in the mailing list and asking a bunch of stuff, helping him with some issues and all that stuff. And he sent me an email asking if I would like to work with them in a project. It was just a project at the beginning because they were needing someone, and somehow, I don't know how, they thought about me because I was talking to him. And then I did that project. I started that project with them because of the open source discussions we were having, and after that we started working together.
Yeah. So was that before you started working with the Rails team, or?
Yeah, that was before. After that I started contributing to Rails, and then more and more since then.
So how did you go about becoming involved in contributing to Rails core? How did that come about?
Yeah, so after starting working at Platformatech, we got involved more in Rails because José was also part of the Rails. Actually, he got part of the Rails core team in 2010, I guess. But we were always discussing, and every time we found a bug, we tried to send a pull request to fix that. Platformatech has this culture of encouraging people to contribute more, right? So at that time, we started doing some minor bug fixes and trying to keep up to date with what was going on in Rails also, and that was opening doors for us to contribute more and more. Maybe fixing some documentation, maybe fixing some issue, or refactoring a code that just got merged is also a good way. So I started contributing more and more like that, and then there was a time where I have 1,000 commits or something.
Yeah. That's a lot of commits.
Yeah.
To open source. So you've been quite prolific, but that's 1,000 commits into Rails. You mean
into Rails? Yeah. Right now,
that's not even counting all of the other projects.
No.
Okay. So what was the process to become a core team member? How did that work? Did they have a ceremony? Did they light the torch?
No.
Can you talk about it?
Yes, sure. Well, as I said, I was contributing more and more, and as I was contributing more, I was actually needing more feedback from the guys that were core or already contributors, right? So there was a time where they added me to a campfire room where some contributors hang around there to talk about Rails, talk about issues and things like that. So that was the first step, getting to talk more about with the contributors guys, and then we started contributing more and more to Rails because of that, because we have direct contact with them, so we end up contributing more. And well, after that, after some time, they got us access to the issues tracker, so we could close issues. We actually had at that time access to commit to Rails, but we were not allowed to, because GitHub does not allow to block only commits and give access to issues. Oh. So we were giving access to issues, but we were just not committers.
Right. So that was more of just trust.
That more of the way of trusting us, that we would help them with issues and pull requests, and this pull request is ready to merge, then ping someone that can merge it, basically. Okay. Something like that. And well, after some time working on issues and helping them with pull requests and reviewing code and all that stuff, they gave us access to commit access to Rails. So we were contributors. We could merge pull requests, send our own commits and things like that. And well, after more than a year or so contributing like that more frequently, they gave us the core team part.
So is it blood in? Now you can only use Rails for the rest of your life, or are you allowed to look at other frameworks? I mean, Platformatech, you guys do a lot of Elixir too, right?
Yeah. We are mostly focusing on Rails and Ruby, right? But we are also developing Elixir, and we'll be applying it in some projects. But in general, we are free to use other technologies, other frameworks if necessary. There is no problem.
It's just the best tool for the job.
Yeah. Right now is the best tool we have for doing our jobs.
And speaking of other tools, expanding beyond just Rails proper, some of the extensions that you've worked on, Simple Form, there used to be Formtastic, or there still is Formtastic, but there's an alternative now with your Simple Form. If I'm not mistaken, you created that project?
Yes, I did.
Yeah, and so what led to that? What pain did you feel that made you want to create that?
In general, our open source projects, they all came out from real projects, from experiences we had in projects like Device, for example. We had an application and we were having problems with the authentication solution we were using, and we decided to create our own to solve our problem. Right. And Device,
and it's very popular now. That's got a huge community around of people using it.
Yes, a lot of people have been using Device, and it's been great. Hearing feedback from people here that they really love Device and use the tool. And Device was released almost 5 years ago, and Simple Form is going to be 4 years, I guess. It's a little bit less than Device. Simple Form was similar to, we were working on a project that had a bunch of forms, very customized forms, because the client was a designer actually.
Right.
So he designed this really nice interface with all forms and all different markup. And Formtask wasn't really helping us on doing that, so we had to do our own form builder for that in that project.
Right.
And after we are finishing that project, we decided to extract that and turn into a gem, the Simple Form gem, which could help us in other projects. And the basic idea behind Simple Form is allowing you to have flexible markup.
Right.
So it helped us a lot in that project, and it has been helping us.
Yeah, I've used all of your work, so
great.
And I use it every day. And the one thing I'm curious about with Devise, though, though, is that's a sensitive piece of infrastructure. That's when I put that into my app. It's there's a lot of trust because there's a lot of stuff going on there I don't necessarily dig into, and it's integrating with Warden, it's doing authentication, it's doing different algorithms for encryption. How much of a learning experience has that been working with creating Devise? And
yeah, in the beginning it was really great because I had less than 1 year or so working with Rails full time, and it was really a great learning experience at the beginning. It was my first actual gem that I was building. And I learned a lot about the authentication process, how to build a gem, and how to integrate things with Rails better. And we actually have improved a lot the integration between gems and Rails since then. And the nice thing is that we could make Devise and perform our other gems, always keep up to date with newer Rails versions. And it has been a really great learning experience. Every new big version of Devise that we release, we need to change a lot of things, and we learn more on how the authentication part works, what are the problems we have on that matter, how we need to be safe on doing things. We can't just screw up because it's authentication. It's important for people with security, right? So there's a lot involved in that. So we try to be the most safe we can.
And I'm also curious is because Devise is associated with Platformatech and it's open source. I mean, even though in open source you are somewhat relinquishing liability, has there been any concern or anybody ever kind of sour working on it because maybe something went wrong and they've come back to? Because I'm just wondering about the dark side of doing open source development here. I just maybe think about you create something, you put it out there, and it's a sensitive piece of infrastructure. Has that been something that you've had to learn any hard lessons about? Somebody coming back and saying, hey, this didn't encrypt password right, and
well, it's simply impossible to make everyone happy, right? So we try to do our best. We try to help people the most we can. We have a mailing list where we direct people to get help where there are more people involved. We have a special security list where people can send us security problems if they are having, or if they think they found something that could be a security issue in Devise. So it's hard to
actually, no, that was very interesting. So if somebody, if people get in trouble out in the real world for discovering security issues, if you discover a security issue, how do you go about? But you're saying that you actually have a way of
we have sort of a process. Like Rails has a security process very well defined, right? There is a mailing, an email you have to send, a special email and all that stuff. We have an email for Devise too, where you can send. There is a contributors markdown file in the Devise repo in GitHub, where you can look. There is the email there, and you need to send an email to that particular address, and then we will guide you to that. But we have seen already people posting stuff on the internet about a possible security problem. That's not good, right?
That's because then you're just kind of undermining the work you're doing. Instead of just telling you, you're not like some bank who just wants to sue you into oblivion. No, you're going to want to go fix it.
And they try to have a real process behind it, and it's like we try to communicate with the guy who is sending the issue to us and get it fixed as soon as possible, right? Because it can be like a minor issue, or it can be a big issue. That can affect lots of versions. So we have, as Rails, we have released 3 or 4 versions, older versions of Devise because of security issues already. So we try to have that process.
Was there any, in particular, with this whole Heartbleed OpenSSL security problem that, I'm sure even my wife, who's not a developer, even she asked me, do we need to go change our passwords? I heard about this hack. Is that something that you've had to deal with Devise, or mostly has that been just educating?
No, basically we were not affected by anything that we could heard of so far, at least.
At least nothing inside of
Devise. Not inside of the Devise code or anything.
Okay. Well, thank you very much for taking the time to speak with me. I appreciate it.
Thank you.
Thanks.
For having me.
User groups with lots to say, interviews and more. No way! Sharing great ideas in the tech community. Fascinating conversations, a plethora of information. Find out for yourself today at UGtastic.com.